The hallway fell silent as the K-9 officer barked once, then twice, louder, sharper. His nose pressed firmly against the faded brick wall, his body tense, tail rigid. Officer Marla Reyes, his handler, froze. She'd been on dozens of school sweeps before, but never had Max, her loyal German Shepherd partner, reacted like this. Something was behind that wall. Something no one was supposed to find. It had started a week ago when West Haven High School, a quiet public school nestled in the suburbs of Virginia, was rocked by a string of mysterious thefts. Students' valuables vanished from locked lockers. Teachers' lounge drawers were rifled through. And most bizarre of all, a decades-old sealed janitor closet had been found unlocked, with scratch marks along its inside walls. The school board brought in local authorities, and with them, Max and Marla. Max had always been more than a dog. After serving in the army for 2 tours, he'd been retired early due to injuries sustained from an IED blast. But his nose remained sharp, and his bond with Marla, who'd been the soldier by his side overseas, was unbreakable. Together, they joined the local police K-9 unit and took on investigations with a quiet, determined grace. As they swept through the school that morning, the usual blend of chalk, cafeteria grease, and teenage sweat hung in the air. Then Max pulled toward the east wing, toward a wall beneath the old staircase that maintenance crews had long ignored. The bark he gave wasn't one of alarm, but discovery. Marla tapped along the bricks, until a hollow thud gave it away. They called in backup. What they uncovered was beyond what anyone expected. Behind the false wall was a small, dust-choked room no larger than a janitor's closet. Inside were rusted filing cabinets, a broken desk, and stacks of manila folders covered in mold. But more chilling were the photos, black and white surveillance images of children from the 1990s. Some folders had names, others just had numbers. As investigators descended on the school, the truth began to unfold. West Haven High had once run a special rehabilitation program for troubled youth in the late 80s and early 90s, students who were reportedly expelled from nearby districts for behavioral issues. The program had been led by Principal George Hallstrom, a man whose name was still engraved on a plaque in the school's front office. But no records of the program existed in school archives, and the district's official line was that it had never existed. The community was shaken. Parents who once roamed the halls as students demanded answers. Reporters swarmed the gates. The district called it a historical oversight. But the pain that surfaced was anything but distant history. One of those students, now a grown woman, was Rachel Tennant, a single mother of 2 and a cashier at the local grocery store. She came forward after seeing news reports, tears streaming down her face. She remembered being 12, scared, and locked in that very room for hours as punishment for talking back to a teacher. She thought no one would ever believe her. Now, finally, someone had. But this wasn't just about a hidden room or a forgotten program. It was about voices long silenced, pain buried, and justice denied. For Marla, the case became personal. Not just because she and Max had uncovered the room, but because her own brother, Danny, had attended West Haven briefly in 1992 before being sent to a juvenile facility. Their family never understood what had happened. Danny had changed overnight, become distant, angry. Then one night, he ran away. They never heard from him again. Haunted by the thought, Marla dug through the dusty files. And then she found it. Folder number 326. Danny Reyes. No picture, no notes, just a date, March 3, 1992. The day he disappeared. Marla's heart clenched. All the pain she'd carried, all the questions, here was a piece of the puzzle. The investigation led to a storm of discoveries, missing funds, off-the-record punishments, and a network of faculty who had long since retired or moved away. Arrests were made. Survivors told their stories on national television. And slowly, the town began to reckon with the darkness buried within its most trusted institution. But the story didn't end in tragedy. The school board voted unanimously to dedicate a new resource center for trauma-informed education, named in honor of those affected. A mural was painted in the east wing, Max front and center, eyes alert, standing before the once hidden wall. Beneath it were these words: "Truth buried is not truth forgotten." Rachel Tennant now works at the center as a youth advocate, sharing her story to help students find their voice. Marla continues working with Max, now semi-retired, as they travel to other schools and institutions to educate about the importance of transparency, accountability, and healing. And as for Danny Reyes, his whereabouts remain unknown. But Marla carries a new hope, one she never allowed herself before, that if justice could rise from behind a forgotten wall, then perhaps her brother, too, might one day come home. The shocking secret hidden behind a school wall had torn open wounds, yes, but it had also lit the path toward truth, toward healing, and toward a future where no voice would be silenced again. Because sometimes, it takes a dog's bark to bring out the cries of the forgotten, and sometimes, even the most buried secrets find their way into the light.